Hi, I'm Judge Penny Wolfgang. The season of Christmas and Hanukkah are upon us and taking place at the same time this year. We will talk about the religious significance. I'll take you for a spectacular tour of the world's most beautifully decorated trees. And guess who I ran into recently? Santa and Mrs. Claus, who say, "Bring on Christmas," right here, right now, on this special holiday edition of The Big Picture. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. Amid the hustle and bustle of getting together with family and friends, the weather and travel concerns, the stress of gift giving, and everything else at this time of year, our next two guests are here to make sure we understand the real reason for the season. Lutheran pastor Steve Biegner is a familiar face here at WBBZ. He joins pastors Jeremiah Smith and Roger Griffiths on the weekly Church Unleashed program, Sunday morning at 10 a.m. He's the pastoral leader of St. Paul's in Eggertsville and is an Erie County fire chaplain. Rabbi Lazarus-Klein is the leader of Congregation Shir Shalom in Amherst. He's past president of the Network of Religious Communities and is spearheading a collaborative initiative to bring people together that we're going to ask him about. Welcome to the program, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start with Rabbi Alex. Rabbi Alex, what's the significance of Hanukkah and the menorah candles? People may be wondering.
Well, this is our festival of lights, and in our darkest time of the year, we light lights to kind of light up our heart. It goes back to the days of the Maccabees, some 2,500 years ago, when the Greeks were kind of trying to conquer Jerusalem and Israel, and the Maccabees fought back against them, against all odds. And of course, there's the famous story of the oil that lasts for 8 days. So they only had enough oil for one day, and it lasted for 8 days.
The darkest time of year is interesting too, because weather-wise, I never thought about it. You know, it is, I mean, everywhere. Okay, Pastor, everyone knows the answer to this, but what is the significance, the real religious significance of Christmas?
So it's not Santa? Is that what can we say that here? It's not? It's not? Even in the Jewish tradition, it's not? Yeah, this is the day that we celebrate that God's got a plan. And for us, as in the Christian tribe, we celebrate it that comes through Jesus Christ, born into the chaos of life back then to bring a sense of peace and hope and love and grace that we couldn't possibly do for ourselves. And as you mentioned that in the open, there are a lot of stressful things right now. So in the midst of the lack of light, we get this light in the world, in both traditions, whether Christian or the Hebrew tradition. And it's just a wonderful joy to have in some of the most difficult times of life.
It's so amazing how the similarities are that you both pointed out. Also, what's really surprising, and I've never in my lifetime heard of this, Hanukkah and Christmas are the same days. Do you think there's a significance to that?
Well, it doesn't happen very often. It's a very, very rare occurrence. The Jewish month kind of moves around. It's a lunar month, and then we add an extra month every few years. And every once in a while, it creeps up. One time it was on Thanksgiving as well, but it's very special when it aligns for the Jewish and the Christian communities to be able to celebrate together.
And we know that Christmas Day is the same day, so it's not up to you.
It does. I wish Easter would stay the same day, but Easter hops around sort of like Hanukkah does, according to the lunar calendar.
And it messes up a lot of people. We'll talk about that.
Does.
You know, sometimes it's cold and you can't wear. Okay. Now, gift giving is associated with the holidays, of course, but really, as we well know, it shouldn't be the whole reason for the season, as we said before. So, how do you manage each to deliver the message to your congregations that gifts are fun and nice and good, but don't stress or forget the real reason that we're talking about these holidays? How do you manage to get that across to your congregations?
I don't know. You want to go first?
Well, I mean, our challenge is trying to stay focused on these reasons, whatever faith tradition you have, in the midst of the secular joy and the shopping and the Christmas season that starts in Lowe's in mid-October, and on the radio station even earlier, so we have to battle that, and the reality is those can be wonderful and awesome and good things, but they can't be they can't be the main reason, they can't be the only reason. So hopefully people are able to do that, but when times are tough, when economic situations pull you in tough directions, when people are battling food insecurity in Western New York like they never have before, it's really important that if we do have the ability to share our blessings, that we do that as well, along with sharing them with our family or getting a new this or another apple something, that we make sure that we get fresh apples for people that actually need that food in their bellies.
Yeah, Hanukkah and Christmas don't have the same significance within our tradition. So Hanukkah is what's called a minor holiday. So life kind of goes on. Like in Israel, it's a quiet, nice holiday in the home. You light the menorah, maybe gift some gifts. Of course, Jewish kids say, well, we get 8 days of gifts.
I know, they always say that.
But there isn't kind of the tension like within the Christian world that it's taking away from the primary message. I will say, because this holiday's align, it's a lot harder to order gifts. Usually we watch the Christians, they go to the mall last minute, try to get it, or order on Amazon. Now we're caught in the same boat. It's terrible.
Yeah, I know, I was thinking about that. We were talking about that before. 7 gifts and everything is, and if you have a family with Hanukkah and Christmas the same, and there's a lot of gift giving.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but it's good for the economy. Think about the economy. We're very concerned here in Western New York, everywhere, about the economy. Now, Pastor Steve, I want to talk a little bit about, you started the Church Unleashed program on WBBZ-TV and online during the pandemic, and you are continuing it despite, the pandemic being over. Are you both finding that churches and congregations are having trouble bringing people to come in real life, I guess, in person, to the facility, to the brick and mortar, church, synagogue?
Over several years, you lose traditions and you gain new traditions. And what has happened for some is they gained either an online community or they lost track of church or worship or synagogue altogether. So we always want folks to stay connected, and if it's through Church Unleashed or the Catholic service on WBBZ or whatever it is, use that as part of your worship experience, but make sure that you don't lose the community. Make sure you don't lose being in the room and looking at other faces and maybe holding hands or hugging or seeing the actual light in person, a candle there to remind you of God's light in your life is so important to do. So to try it out, use the TV programs that are there for sure, but to make sure that you try and reconnect to your synagogue or your church or your temple wherever you can.
Yeah, I mean, coming in person, being part of a community is really, really important. I think in the Jewish world, we faced a really difficult time with anti-Semitism. So people really want to be together the last few years. And it's been very precious. But we do a lot of online offerings, and those things are important too. We have a lot of shut-ins. A lot of people can't get to. That's the original reason why we set up a streaming service. And those are important, and you can build community, but there is no substitute for being in person.
I want to talk to you a little bit about this project that we want to inform everybody about that you started recently called Resetting the Table. Can you tell us what the mission is and what you are doing?
Yeah, so several years ago, after May 14th, a group called Resetting the Table, which works on difficult dialogue, encouraging people to have dialogue, and especially in our very highly partisan era, often we don't talk to one another. So after May 14th, they got a grant to come into Western New York, and they've been working with us for 2 years now. And I'm part of I'm one of the trainers, so I've done a lot of different programs. Basically, we're trying to encourage people to be able to talk to one another, even about things they disagree, that it's okay. And we've had a lot of events connected around the election time. Right before the election, we all gathered together, and we have groups of people that are more conservative and more liberal, It really is, we have people in the Southern Baptist evangelical world, more Main Street, liberal like myself, and we stood up in front of the Theodore Roosevelt Center downtown and said, we do not want, despite our differences, we don't want political violence. And then in the week afterwards, I led several sessions with my partner Eric Farley, who's a Southern Baptist minister, to have people talk to each other even after the election with different opinions. And
you also, Steve, you have something called A View from the Pew. I love that name. You had to think of that. You're so smart. And how do you do this to bring people together, or do you think that maybe the two of you can work together in some way?
Yeah, we do. Some of our Lutheran colleagues are part of resetting the table, and which is so important. It reminds me of that joke: a Lutheran and a rabbi walked into a bar.
I never heard that.
But there's so many times that we need to sort of take that view from the pew and remind ourselves that this is not what pastoral leaders, clergy, rabbis are saying. It's about like what are the regular humans of life? And we're all that person. How do we do this better? How do we come closer together and not choose sides and move away from one another, but move together? Whatever faith journey you are a part of, our message is the same. We're not supposed to go apart from one another. We're supposed to work together with one another. So that view is important for us to capture, especially right now.
I'm sure you agree. Okay, everyone's family men, family women. How do you celebrate the holiday? How do you celebrate Christmas?
Well, first we check the Bills schedule and make sure there's not a game.
Yeah.
And then the Sabres schedule. No. And then we just come together around a table and laugh. We do gifts in the morning. Our family works out together. We have all of our services on Christmas Eve and then the weekend before. And so Christmas Day, I actually don't have a church service to do. So it's really all about family. It's all about just recognizing how blessed we are. A few things of food in there and some gifts and probably a game of Monopoly.
Oh, really? Do you get Park Place? You like Park?
I try to.
Okay.
I usually get the bad ones. But.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very sweet in our family. We'll get together in the evenings, whenever that is, and we each have our own menorah, different types of menorahs. We'll light them together. Usually we make latkes, the potato pancakes, spin the dreidel, all those kind of things. And then in our synagogue, our theme this year is Moana. So we're having Moanica. And Moana is actually going to visit our synagogue. And on the Friday night, it's actually a little bit earlier than Hanukkah on the 20th, but it should be a really fun celebration.
And great. One thing I don't want to forget, everyone must remember to watch Church Unleashed and you have to do a good program because it is the lead-in to the big picture.
It is.
On Sundays.
That's our job.
So please
do not people set
that.
for you.
Okay, so if you would like to find out more about what Pastor Steve Biegner and his team are doing, you can go to churchunleashedtv.com. And for Rabbi Alex Lazarus-Klein, you can go to shirshalombuffalo.org. So before we leave, we're hoping that each of you will give a blessing to our viewers.
Well, I'll offer the traditional priestly blessing, and usually we extend our hands like this, and I'll offer it in the Hebrew. Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God shine God's light upon you and grant you comfort. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God lift God's face to you and grant you and all of us peace.
Thank you.
And I can't do it in the traditional Greek, so you just get stuck with the same old Western New York English. But as you go on your way today, may the Lord go with you. May he go before you to show you the way, behind you to encourage you, beside you to be your friend, above you to watch over you, and within you to give you peace. Go today celebrating and rejoicing in the name of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Lutheran Pastor Steve Biegner from St. Paul's in Eggertsville and Rabbi Alex Lazarus-Klein from Congregation Shir Shalom, thank you both so much for joining us. We'll be right back.